Are you serious? I'm live. Would you?
I was going to say, to let you know that we have Stephen Deneen confirmed as well.
Tell that.
We have Stephen Deneen confirmed as well as Marshall
For what?
for the December 2nd webinar.
What's the name of this webinar?
Planet X and the asteroids. I don't remember the name.
The name is Deep Impact. Deep Impact, and with which, of course, is going to be talking about deep impact and incoming asteroids. I think we're calling it. Of course, that includes Planet X. So you're saying Stephen Ben Noon is on board? All right, we got Stephen Ben Noon, we got Marshall Masters, of course, we got Mike Around the World, myself, and Bart Begley, and we got others. As soon as we track down Gil Brazard, we'll find him. He'll be on board, and others. So this is going to be December 2nd. December 2nd. So it's going to be really good, because not only are we going to be giving you a full update on all of these things, but we're going to have a panel discussion, which I think is going to be really neat. Really, really neat. And also what's really cool is, besides Planet X and what's happening with it, we're going to really be taking a look at Apophis. Not only all the incoming asteroids, there's information that's not been released out there about asteroids, but Apophis. Apophis is a serious issue. I've been watching it for years. Tom Horn has now written a book on it. He and I are both in agreement. I wrote about it in my book, Mark of the Beast, RFID, where I felt that when it came, that we did have a deep impact when it hits. He's wrote about it in his book, The Wormwood Prophecy. He believes we're going to have an impact. I don't think that the big asteroid hits us, but I think that we certainly are going to get hit with the companions. And now more and more science coming out. I'll tell you more about that. This is going to be a great webinar. It's December 2nd. Anyway, put a shout out right now for noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com. Guys, they're giving away a silver American Virtue coin. It's 3 ounces. Beautiful coin. With everyone that qualifies with a silver IRA. And you can do that by rolling over your 401k into a silver IRA or gold IRA. And you really should consider it. With the high inflation rates and with interest rates, inflation is eating away at the buying power of the dollar. It's messing up the currency, no doubt about it. And I don't see anybody with a plan. So far, there's no policy changes that's going to fix the outrageous prices and all that. So here's what you do. Really consider going to noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com. Or pick up the phone and call them at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. And tell them Pastor Paul sent you. All right, guys, the reason for the video is we have 2 hurricanes that people know about, and that's Lisa and Martin. But that's not the problem. Lisa is going to smash into Belize as we speak. And that's going to create some serious problems for those folks. It is a very dangerous storm, bringing a lot of water and flooding and devastation to parts of Belize. Pray for those folks. But Martin is a bigger storm. It's even going to turn into a Category 2. But don't worry, it's going to shoot off into the North Atlantic and be no threat to the United States at all. Maybe Greenland, okay, way down the road. But the real problem is the 3rd hurricane that's not even formed yet. But the conditions are absolutely perfect for a storm. And it's going to be, when it does form, it'll first be called Tropical Storm Nicole before becoming Hurricane Nicole. And this storm will form in the next few days. And by next week, it will be a threat to Florida. Now, how big it gets, how organized it gets, I don't know. Praying that it doesn't get very organized. I'm way out ahead of everyone else. You heard it here first. But Tropical Storm Hurricane Nicole is going to be a problem next week and will be a threat to Florida. And the part of Florida where it looks like it could be the threat would be on the Atlantic side between Fort Lauderdale and Orlando, anywhere along that area. Now, it could change, of course. It's way too early where the direction it could really wind up, or even how big the storm organizes. But I want to get out ahead of it, because I think sometimes these guys wait way too late to tell people that there's even a storm organizing. And like, if you knew that now and you don't have the plywood, or you don't have certain supplies you need to get, you probably should go get stuff and have it stored away in a storage bin or whatever, you know, or in one of your sheds, to prepare for these, to board up your windows. Because if you wait till everybody knows it, you run to Home Depot and it's all, there's nothing available. So I think it's good to let people know in advance. And if it don't happen, then thank God, okay? So, and that's sort of like why people ask me, why do I preach on the end times? Why do I keep bringing it up? Because I get out way ahead of it, and I have been. I think that's what God wanted me to do when he told me 13 years ago to come on here, right here on this YouTube channel, and to preach to people about the coming of the Lord. He said, you got to get way out ahead of this, Paul. You got to tell people that I am coming soon, and that time is running out, and that they need to get their lives right with God, get their families in church, start thinking about their salvation, and not wait too late. So, yeah, someone said, I just watched the chief meteorologist in Florida yesterday. He made no mention of this storm. Right, because it's not a storm. It's conditions to create the storm are perfect. So a storm will form. Now, how big? That's still questionable. No one can see that far in the future. But that's why the meteorologist hasn't even spoke about it, because they generally don't even tell you till the storm has formed and is already a tropical storm and is looking like it's going to turn into a hurricane, and then they give you about 3 or 4 days advance notice. It's too late. For a lot of folks, that's too late. So I'm not a meteorologist. I'm not a cardiologist. I'm not an ophthalmologist. I'm not a urologist. I'm not a psychologist. You know, I'm barely a theologist. But I will say this. I am a watchman on the wall for the people. And I can see a storm coming. Now let me tell you something else. I see a storm coming also politically. We don't talk about that. But that one's coming in the aftermath of next week's red wave. So keep your eyes open about that. The aftermath of the red wave. There will be a storm. In Israel, there's going to be some sunshine and some brightness and some hope for the first time in 5 years, because they're going to have a stable government with Benjamin Netanyahu. He will become the prime minister again, and he will solidify and strengthen that nation that's under threat everywhere. So really, really important. Keep an eye on all of this. Very interesting what's happening in these last days. So anyway, just want to tell you guys about these storms. Again, pray for the people of Belize. They're going to get hit with Lisa. Pray for, don't worry about Martin. It's not going to bother us. But keep your eye on this third storm, which will become Nicole sometime next week. It could be very serious. All right, guys. God bless all of you. Stay safe. Stay awake. Keep looking up. Your redemption's drawing nigh. Jesus is coming soon. I'll be back. Don't forget tonight with Mike from around the world. Yes, that's going to be coming on tonight. So don't miss that broadcast. Should be very, very good. Amen. God bless.